If there is one thing we like at Out of Spec, it is the numbers, the data. And if you are a Rivian owner, you may already know about Rivian Roamer. A lot of R's there. And with Rivian Roamer, you get a lot of information, a lot of data about, well, your Rivian ownership. It's also a place where you can look at the inventory of Rivians around you. And who else better to talk about Rivian's numbers and Rivian Roamer than the creator himself, Chad? Thank you so much for joining us to talk everything Rivian Roamer. I'll just kind of start off. What is Rivian Roamer from your perspective? Because it didn't start off with the numbers and data, but now that's what everyone, at least I would say, and from my perspective, seems to come for, the numbers.
Yeah, it's actually today is 2 years since it launched exactly. And its inception was me playing around. I had just purchased my R1S. I think I was 1 month into ownership. And I was like, let me see what kind of information I can get access to. And so the original launch of the website was tracking inventory, and not for the purposes of actually doing anything with it, but just to launch it and see what is available. And so I started aggregating inventory and putting it together and launched it. And someone was like, well, this is interesting. Because the way the Rivian inventory site worked was it only showed you inventory that was around you rather than just inventory that was available. And so I built that, and over the course of a year and a half, it kind of evolved. I added other things like charging network tracking, software, and eventually software updates was the first big piece of linking your Rivian account. And that pivoted into wholesale telematics. So, if the way I pitch it to people is like Strava for your Rivian, like being able to drive and charge and track and see all that information. And it's just features have gotten added over time to give Rivian owners kind of enrich their experience. The way I like to describe it is kind of the arc. In the beginning, it was finding a Rivian. In the middle was knowing about the updates you were getting. And now that you have your Rivian, seeing all the information about where you drive and charge and things like that.
Yeah, I used Rivian Roamer during my most recent road trip. And all of my road trips, it's fun to get a good look at everything that your vehicle did. Going straight from like kind of the dashboard here, I mean, all of the information from, okay, my Rivian's currently at home, the temperature of the interior, my lifetime miles, what's the software update?
You should see mine right now.
Yeah, it's Florida. It gets hot. Everything from the VIN, when it was built, the birthday of your car, how many miles since your last rotation, the miles that you have on your set of tires, the amount of phantom drain. I mean, and you can see everything down to like your drive. I mean, this amount of information is kind of crazy. And I don't think it's something that we see for a lot of not only other cars or EVs, but just in general products.
Yeah, I think that it's a tough balance to strike. You want to give people information that's consumable, especially for more beginners, but you also want to provide the data for the nerds. And so like this is a blend of a little bit of that. Trying to make a UX that is approachable for people who are new to EV ownership. 85% of R1 buyers are first-time EV owners. And I found that it's about a 50-50 split on Rivian Roamer from people that are first-time EV owners and then the nerds. And so trying to distill this information down and really help people make informed decisions has been quite the interesting journey. You had mentioned like phantom drain, like that's not a thing that a lot of people understand. Like, why did I go to sleep with my vehicle at 80% and I woke up at 75%? So giving them the insight and understand what's going on has been quite the interesting journey to still provide that like nerd level of information that's useful for people like you at Out of Spec.
And one thing that was recently added, which I think kind of goes back into what you're saying, kind of making it easy for people to read and understand, is leaderboards. And we were talking about this before we started. But this stuff just makes it just, there's so much competition here, right? Yeah. I want to be at the top of the Rivian Roamer leaderboard. You can currently see when it comes to efficient drives, I'm currently 410, so I'm not there, but you can toggle through everything here. Can you kind of run us through what some of these like leaderboards are?
Yeah, so the efficient ones are a lot of fun because people like the min-max. So they'll be like, can I go downhill and maximize my efficiency? In fact, some of these I think can lead to infinite efficiency, which is really fun if they're going just downhill, like they generated energy. There are the least efficient drives. This is a really fun one. So I saw people like, oh, I'm gonna tow something uphill. Like, what is
I was on there
and you
for
can
a
see
bit
the
when I
little
towed my camper.
yeah, exactly. And you can see Kyle's leading some of these, right? And he did that without towing, which is impressive. And I have the little indicators there. So if you're towing, it indicates that. And you can see it by different month and per year and then all time. So this has been a fun way because a lot of people are out there doing these things anyway, is to show them like this can be fun. Like you don't need to be efficient all the time. Maybe you can have fun and be least efficient. Most distance driven is another one. So that is, I believe that one is specifically within a single session. Or no, this is total actually distance driven. My bad. I believe it is. Yeah, there you go. And then longest drive. There we go. And so that is how much can you drive on a single charge? And Kyle just absolutely takes over
Guy's
these leaderboards.
dominating.
I know. We can't do anything against Kyle. So I'm just going to put a little permanent, like Kyle's going to be position 0 so that we can give other people a chance to actually get the number 1. Oh, here we go. So we have, if you haven't seen Ryan's video, he joined Rivian Roamer sneakily and didn't tell me, and went and did one of his drives. If anyone hasn't seen it, he had attempted the cannonball in his R1T, and he had a second battery in the bed, and he drove. And the session appeared on Rivian Roamer, and I was like, "This is physically impossible. Like, how did this person do this?" He didn't tell me until hours later, and he goes, "By the way, I have another battery in my bed." And I was like, "Oh my god!" So there's a fun little competition to things like this. Like if someone wants to put a third battery, maybe they could beat Ryan. But another one I just added recently. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, so that battery is how he ended up on the leaderboards, and he charges the main battery as he's driving, so he doesn't even switch over. So that battery that you're looking at backfeeds the primary battery as he's driving. And so as far as the vehicle and Rivian Roamer is concerned, it all came from one battery.
Here he's at the top. That's crazy.
Yep.
So cool.
And then the one I added recently, that very last one you want to check out. This one's fun. So this is a little hat tip to Kyle, the out of spec leaderboard. This counts the number of miles someone's driven once they hit 0 miles of range. And so, of course, Kyle's leading that right now. So not a lot of people have done it, but it is growing. So now that it's out there, I'll be making a social media post about this tomorrow. And hopefully I don't strand anyone. I'm a little worried people are going to go out there and try this. And a lot of people are going to try this and not have their own portable generator to charge their truck. And I have a feeling I'm going to get some. So hopefully, if you try this, do it on your own. I'm not responsible for what happens, but if you want to try it, maybe you can beat Kyle. Let me know. But yeah, the social feature has been a lot of fun. I've gotten so much feedback. This was one of those things that I added, and I didn't expect it to blow up as much as it did, and absolutely just took off. Like people absolutely love it. So this is another feature you're running across now. I just added this weekend. So personal bests. I'll be adding more to this, but you can see things like your fastest charging rate, what's the lowest charge you've seen, different things like that. And they even tie to the specific charging or drive session where it happened.
This is so much information.
And yeah, you can see where you rank on each of the leaderboards down below. So you don't have to go look through them individually.
Right.
And so there's a whole expansion coming to this pretty soon. 2 big features I'm building that I think people are going to love. One of them is called the Adventure Map. And so if you've ever played a game like Age of Empires or StarCraft, where you have this like fog of war that you expose, you'll be able to see that on the map of the US where you've explored. Oh, wow. So as you drive around, you're kind of exploring different parts and unlocking different parts of the US, Canada, wherever you're at. And as you explore different places, another feature that's about to launch tied to that is actual achievements. And the first part of that will be national parks. So saying you visit Joshua Tree, you'll get a badge for visiting that Joshua Tree, and it'll show up on the map.
Nice.
That is it. And you can use old data for that as well.
Yep, all retroactive. Wow. So all of this data, if you're signed up now, I always tell people, like, legitimately, I'm not like, obviously, like, you have to pay to sign up, but if you do, like, I can start gathering that data immediately. And so if you do it now, then you get that data retroactively once I add these features.
I love that the personal best in being in Florida, the highest elevation I've hit is 982 feet. That's it. That's the best I've done.
And the lowest is what? I guess like 0.
Let me see.
You probably go a little bit below sea level, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
negative something.
Yeah. And this is another one. So yeah, the battery one was a big one. A lot of people were interested in this. One interesting thing that happens that a lot of people noticed is their battery capacity dropping, when in fact it doesn't actually drop. You'll notice these trends. Like a battery doesn't normally do this, right? What Rivian does is they abstract your range and battery degradation away from you, because they don't want you to know the degradation's happening. I actually think it's a good customer experience. They want you to have that range that you get when you take delivery for the life of your vehicle. So there's a buffer they built in. So as the temperature swings, so does your battery capacity. So you could see these trends. You look in June, July, you might have been somewhere where it was a little cooler. And so your battery drops, and then you go back to where it's being warm, and it comes back up.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, yeah. And as the temperatures was freezing here in Tallahassee
Yep,
recently.
and it drops like a rock like that. And then if you scroll down a little bit, another piece of information that's helpful is obviously you want to keep it between 80 and 20%. So I have this graph to show you when are you getting outside of those bands, and that's when you could start impacting your battery's range and capacity. So giving you some insight to say, hey, maybe you want to keep it between these bands a little bit more often.
It's crazy. Some of this, I mean, so much has changed.
As a former Tesla user for my Tesla, this is like perfect.
Yeah. There's a Tesla, like there's Tessie, there's Teslab, Teslafy, yeah. And so like I took some inspiration from them. Like, hat tip to them. A lot of those people innovated in this space. I don't want to say anything I'm building here is novel, but trying to approach it slightly differently. I think, and trying to just not only just put the data in your face, but help you make decisions. Like this is informing people, because we think about a lot of people that are going to be buying R1 or that are buying R1, that will be buying R2, or first time EV owners. And when you go from an ICE vehicle to an EV, what is phantom drain? Like gas doesn't disappear from my car. And so trying to explain what this means to people and give them information, like looking at your dashboard here, this effective range, right? So this is actually really useful. And I think if I have a gas car and I fill it and it says 300 miles, most of the time I'm going to hit that 300 mile range, but that doesn't always play out in an EV. And so you think about the different things that impact your driving. And that could be weather, your driving style, everything like that. That guessometer that we see in a lot of vehicles generally isn't accurate, but that what you were just showing on the dashboard there takes trends over the last 30 days to say, based on your current charge and everything you've done over the last 30 days, I think on your dashboard it was showing you'll get 60 miles of range. So you get into the Rivian, it says 72. That 60 is more realistic. And then you can plan appropriately. So giving that information that's easy to digest for owners, I think has been really helpful.
And before we move on, we were talking about Teslafy, other apps that can give you information. You do have Tesla Roamer as well, which I briefly like looking over here as well. And just for those that don't own Rivians, because there's a ton of EVs out there. We got things from Volvo, from GM, Polestar, Lucid. I don't want to spoil any of your plans. Is this something that you see could be expanded to other EVs? Are we going to get like a Tesla Roamer with as much information as Rivian Roamer?
Yeah. I'll just flat out say yes. I own all of the domains for all of the popular EV brands now. I'm already ahead of them. But I did start with I do own it. So I started the Tesla one, the inventory side of it, because I do believe in just getting people into EVs. Like the experience is better. And part of getting into EVs is trying to find the right vehicle for you. And so one thing you'll notice throughout all of my applications, I don't have ads. There's nothing here that's going to track you. There's nothing that's going to annoy you. I'm just trying to present information in a way that I think is useful for people. It doesn't cost me a lot to run these websites, mostly just my time, but trying to surface insights. Like if you actually scroll down a little bit on this vehicle, Isaiah, one thing you'll see down there at the bottom is like the pricing history. Like you can see it dropping every day, right? So like getting this information into hands of people, I've always described it as like the democratization of information. That is kind of the ethos of the
Wow.
Roamer brand. So whether it's Tesla or Lucid or Ford or whatever brand I go after, the goal is to just democratize information and put it in the hands of owners, and so they can make better decisions. And yeah, like here, like let's just help you like find the best deals. Like, what are you looking for, right? What is the best lease deal? What is the best way you can get into a hardware for vehicle? Things like that. That's what people care about.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, and so this actually has accurate hardware information. I integrated with a new API that Tesla launched to not guess and actually tell you this does have hardware for. Everyone's tried to guess and put logic into it. If you see it there, it confirmed has it.
Fantastic.
This is crazy. So yeah, if you're a non-Rivian owner looking at this, I know a lot of people are like, well, I don't own a Rivian and I love data. What's happening here? You know, I don't mean to blow up your spot, Chad, but definitely be on the lookout, because I know everyone from every vehicle model could be interested in something like this. And yeah, down to the fact that I can find a hardware for Tesla. Like I know what I'm buying. And if I'm something that I want FSD, this is a Tesla that could get me that, right? Democratizing choice. And that's crazy. I don't want to seem so like dumbfounded here, but so much has changed within the past couple months, back into a year to 2 years, that, you know, I don't check Rivian Roamer every single day. I'll be honest. But seeing a lot of these changes, it's like crazy how much information and helpfulness this website brings.
I appreciate that. And I have to thank my customers and the users. I mean, you both were supportive in the beginning, being insiders that were tracking this and giving me feedback. And Kyle joined early on. It's been really helpful. I get emails every day from Rivian Roamer customers who are giving me feature feedback. And my entire backlog is prioritized based on what people say. Every feature I build is based on something someone says, I want this. And if 5 people say I want this, I'm building it that week. Since I've launched the telematics feature in October of 2025, so it's been 6 months, I have launched no fewer than 2 features every week. And every Wednesday, I send out an email to every customer, and it says, hey, here's what's launched, here's what's coming. And I've sent that every week for the last 6 months.
I remember we were looking when we were having, I think, the insider phase still, when we had the whole miscalibrated large plus thing with my R1S.
Oh, yeah. That was fun. Yeah, it was kind of interesting because we saw the charging chart just keep going beyond where it was supposed to stop.
Right.
But like, for those we were able to. The R1S had R1T as well, I think, had a period where they had software locked max packs, and I got one of those because I wanted faster charging. And so it's software locked to about 120 kilowatt hours from the 141 gross or 141 that usable that max usually is. And when I got it, I got it like 96% or something like that when they delivered it. I'm like, I'm gonna just do a 100% charge so I can see what it looks like the night I got it. I plugged it in and it sat 99% for like, I don't know, like 12 hours or something like that.
Yeah.
And then because I looked at it and I looked at my wall connectors like energy graph or whatever, and it was just like chugging at 11 kilowatts like the entire night. Like, what's going on? And then I drove like probably nine. I drove some large amount, maybe I think it was like 30 or something miles at 100%, like just nonstop. I was going up and down the road. It would not drop from 100%. And it finally dropped to 99 after 30, 40 miles. And I was like, oh, I had a max pack. I shouldn't have said it. I shouldn't have said anything.
It was you and Ryan from Kilowatts. I think both of you were signed up on Rivian Roamer, and I was like trying to debug it, and I was like, what is going on with this data? So yeah, it's been really interesting. I've helped a lot of people actually diagnose service issues, and if anyone who's hooked up to Rivian Roamer has a problem, you can email me, support at rivianroamer.com, hey@rivianroamer.com, Chad, Rivian, any of those. I've answered every single customer contact. I've gotten people data, and they've been able to take it to service and actually help.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was someone that with the LFP packs issue that happened recently where they were, I don't know if they went the story public, so I'm not going to say, but they were driving down the road and out of nowhere went from 5 to 0. And they had their vehicle towed to Rivian service, and they actually denied fixing their 12 volt because it killed the 12 volt by doing that. Because they were like, well, you did this on purpose. Like, you did this, you were negligent, you knew what was happening. They're like, no, it went from 5 to 0. And they're like, well, that's not what we see. So I gave them the data, and Rivian service saw it, and they were like, oh, our bad. Okay. So I've been able to help people in accidents that have had issues. I've been able to help people in service. I'd like to make this self-service. It's something I'm going to do in the future. But having this data available to you has been able to help a different group of people. You mentioned the large plus issue, people in service with LFP, accidents, police investigations, a bunch of other things I've helped people out with.
Yeah, I'd say me directly. I remember when I was on my road trip, you texted me because you noticed it first.
Yep.
And you were like, your vehicle is charging really weird. And I had a coolant filter issue that was totally causing a lot of heat. The vehicle wasn't charging properly. And when I went to service, they weren't fully aware of the issue. They were like, we're not really sure like what to, tell you. Like, we don't see anything too deep on our sides. But because I had the charging graph from Rivian Roamer, I was able to directly show them. And with that help, they were able to replicate the issue after some tries and have it remedied. And so things like that, right? Having the data on your end to be able to solve issues yourself, it's like super helpful. So yeah, me directly, it's helpful.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and to be clear for anyone listening, that was before it launched publicly, and I was not spying on Isaiah or anything. I think at the moment I had like 10 or 20 people signed up, and I had like a bug, and I was like, all right, and everyone knew who signed up that I might look into the data. And I just noticed it. I was like, hey, Isaiah, something weird's going on with your truck. It's charging at like 1 kilowatt. And I think it was like a DC fast charging session. Like, is everything all right? And you went and checked. You're like, oh yeah, that's messed up. So yeah, I'm glad we were able to help. But that's another big selling point, is that privacy is really important to me. As everything I use, I think especially in the world of AI nowadays, it's really important to figure out who you're giving access to your data. And so that's one thing I want to take a moment to talk about, that I think a lot of people have entrusted me that I'm not taking this data and selling it. I've never had anyone, thankfully, come to me and offer to buy the data. But if anyone did, I would politely turn them down. I'm not going to sell anyone's data. I don't go peering into the data. Anytime someone reaches out to me, I let them know, I'm like, hey, is it okay if I look into this? And any aggregated data on the website, like some of the things you're going through with the leaderboards, completely you can opt out. And if you don't want to be a part of it, you don't have to. And there's more features coming. Like, I'm going to show charging curves at charging sites. So if you want to see, the Northampton RAND site typically has a charging curve that looks like this, I'll be able to show that. But if you want to opt your data out of that, you can completely do that. I take privacy and security very, very seriously.
That's worth saying. I remember asking if you could help me with some sort of 2-factor thing. This was a while ago. It was early on, and you're like, it's not something you can do on your end.
No, yeah. I try to set it aside, and every time I access your data, it's logged and audited, and that's something people can see. So if I go looking in your data, you can go see, oh, Chad was looking at my data. And I'm the only person that works on this application. I've not accepted any outside contributions or anything like that. So if something goes wrong, it's on me. But hopefully I'll take the blame. But I also take the credit that I sustainably build features in a way that's private and secure. I want everyone to feel like this is information that they can trust will stay that way. So,
and on that topic, you were talking about charging. I'm not sure if Tom, you want to go into this, but you can see all of the information from chargers. Rivian has their own rating system.
Yep.
It's just a RAN here, Iona, FPL. And I use this personally to see how many stations Rivian is building out. And so because you get this directly from, Rivian's API, it automatically updates here with the sites, the amount of chargers, and that works with Iona, FPL, Tesla, and more.
Yep. So this was really useful. It was an unintended consequence that I'm glad I did, because you had mentioned that like yellow progress bar, the open access, was kind of interesting. When Rivian started opening the RAN network, right, to, I guess it's just the RAN, to other manufacturers, I started tracking that because people were interested. Like, is this open to all? So you have that little lock icon there to tell you whether or not it is. And then even tracking like the NACS and CCS breakdown per, which I think has been really interesting to see their adoption, which has been quite slow, but they're getting there. You know, with R2 coming out, hopefully they expand that. But one feature I did just launch is if you go to one of your DC fast charging sessions, it'll now show which one of the sites you were charging at. So now I'm starting to connect this data together. Yeah, so if you go to search, we can probably do it live. Let's see if it'll work. I'm taking a big bet on myself here. Click on search.
Okay. Charge.
There you go. And then charge. And then, oh yeah, so charging site. So there's a filter up there.
Golly. Yeah. I can see my own charging. Now, luckily, I have free RAN charging, so I imagine a lot of that is like
that's reported by Rivian. So, but if you want to click on one of these, hopefully it should have an associated charging location. So if you just pick one, and then scroll down to the map view. There you go. Keep going. There you go. Bottom left. So that little card you see, the Tallahassee RAN network icon. Oh, it went away. Unexpand it. There you go. Bottom left. Yep. And so there you go.
Nice.
That's now I've like started to link all these together. And this page that you're looking at is specifically for Tallahassee. Will soon have charging curves, so you can see what is the typical charging curve I can expect at this location.
And you can even see which ones are down. That's like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I've been logging all of this history. So the thing I've focused a lot of time on when building this is like the data. The data is the most key part of this. I can always build features, but I can't go back and retroactively get data, right? And so anything you see here has historical data. That includes prices for RAN. That includes whether or not it's up or down. So being able to say, hey, these went down, these went up, like how often is this charging site having issues has been really helpful to build like historical information. Like the if you look at your sidebar there, the efficiency option under mileage. So this was something I launched rather recently that you had mentioned earlier, like, will it be retroactive? I added this because all of this data is there. So you can see how efficiently you're driving, which I don't know how you did that. Good job.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah, down a hill.
And then you can see there the trend, it should be your rated range. So you can see how you're doing against kind of Rivian's rated range for your vehicle. Oh, and this has been a fun one. So you see there by driver.
Yeah. This is when Dominic and Kyle drove my R1T.
Dom not driving very efficiently.
Huge trailer. He was like, huge trailer.
It has started some spousal debates after I launched it. I had to say, hey, I take no responsibility for this.
I'm looking at mine.
But I'll say this also helped. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dom.
Oh, you're good. I was looking at mine. There's this one time in March where apparently I was at 11.55. I have no idea how it was achieved.
I'm impressed. It was probably a short session. This sometimes happens with shorter sessions where the data gets a little wonky, especially if you were just going downhill, which I know you don't have a lot of in Florida, but you never know.
Down my driveway. Yeah, well, this is a nice part. It even has it by driver. I spread out a little bit. I'm trying to get my parents into EVs, so I share my R1S with them while they're shopping for them, and I can see the efficiency by driver. I am the least efficient, which is kind of funny because I care about efficiency, but then I like to have fun, especially with the additional sport mode.
Yeah.
For us non-performance owners. But most efficient is my mom. You can actually see who's driving the least efficient, the most efficient. I'm the worst. Mom's the highest so far. Dad right in the middle. But that's pretty cool. You can see it by graph. It has the numbers there.
Yep.
By towing, without towing is also here. Yep. Shows you trips. 5 trips with the trailer. 1,100 trips with no trailer. But pretty awesome. I tow more the Lightning, so that's why.
That makes sense. Yeah, Isaiah, the mileage one you might want to make use of because you're on a lease, right?
Yes, I am on a lease.
Both of us.
Very cool.
So if you want to, if you're feeling brave, we could set up your lease target real quick. It takes 2 seconds.
So, okay, guide me
Let's
through
do
this.
it. Let's do it. Do you want to share your screen?
Yeah.
There you go. So this was another feature I just added recently. So on the left under battery, there's mileage.
Okay.
There you go. So you can kind of see your trends over time. This is where it's going to get scary. So we're going to set a mileage goal.
All right.
And do a live feature setup. So set it to lease. So you have to go to the top and click on lease first. Yeah, there you go.
I mean, we're over already, so it's like whatever. Lease ends, let's see, May 31st. Technically ends June 1st. We'll say I'll probably buy my
2026
more than. Yeah, it ends very soon.
Oh, yeah. You have to scroll down. You had to set the start.
Oh.
Yep. No, you're good. So do you remember when you got your vehicle?
May of 2024.
And I assume you started with 0 miles, right?
So like,
so 50, make sure you hold on.
Oh, I'm going fast.
Almost. Start at 0.
50.
Oh, you started at 50. All right. Now let's see the trend. Now you can save.
Let's see.
Oh, are you sure? It seems like you're doing all right.
Well, we've projected, right? So by the time May, when it's time to turn
I see. Yeah.
Rivian back in, then it'll be at 6,960 over.
Oh yeah, so you're projected to be quite a bit over.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, things like this, like giving people insight to understand, because a lot of people leased their Rivians and they're so fun to drive.
Yep.
And I don't know a single person that has a lease that is under their mileage.
Yep.
So being able to understand, because if you see the projected, also for a lot of people that don't know this, you can sometimes call Chase and buy miles at a discount before you turn it in. So that's something to consider too.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see that you are going to be, 6,000 over. Maybe you call Chase and be like, hey, how much would it cost me to buy 6,000 miles now rather than do it later?
I'm glad you said that. I will definitely call.
Yeah, it's like a 25% discount if you call ahead of time.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I went way over had I gotten the Lightning. I was at who knows? I'm at 20,000 now, but that drastically dropped last May when I got the Lightning. So like we've added maybe 5,000 in change since then. So that should tell you everything you need to know.
Set up your lease targets. Yeah. I've had some people that set them up and they were like, oh, I didn't realize how fast I was going over that. So yeah. And again, all of these are features not I've built for myself, but people that have had feedback. So if there's something you want to see, you ask. I don't think there's anything I've said no to. So, let me know what you'd like to see. But yeah, the feature suite's grown rapidly. Like that bar on the left, I've run out of room. And so I need to think about how I'm going to organize this. Cause we have inventory and the charging and the guides. And yeah, this is kind of what kicked everything off, was being able to find inventory.
Mm-hmm.
Which we should get into, because this is what started it all, being able to see what Rivians are available in certain areas. We know that if you go on Rivian's website, and I mean, this is probably in the past, it's probably changed since then, but if you put in your zip code, it would only show you certain Rivians. And with Rivian Roamer, you're able to see them across the country. Yep. And then you're able to contact Rivian and say, hey, I want this one. They can ship it to you. And that way you get what you want. So putting it again in the hands of the consumer, but a lot of options here. Well, we can kind of filter.
Yeah, so I added like offer filtering. So you can see there, like if you wanted to get that 1.99% APR, there's now a filter for that. And so being able to select it, you had none for the quad.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah. So it looks like it's tied to R1T right now, but you can go in and see these offers. In the beginning, you had mentioned like the locality part was really important to people, and Rivian was surprised. So when I launched this, I remember I got a chance to demo it to Wasim at launch mode in Seattle, and he looks at me and goes, "Why do people want this?" And I was like, "Well, people are willing to travel to pick up their R1T or R1S and drive it home." He goes, "Really?" And I'm like, "Absolutely."
Oh, yeah.
And so it drove so many sales that Wasim reached back out to me and he goes, "Hey, we'd like to chat with you a little bit more about this and learn why are people willing to do this." And I was like, people would prefer Like they'll fly to a city. You think about $100,000 vehicle to get their ideal config, and then it's the adventure brand, like adventure it back home and bring it back home. And they were shocked to hear this. So eventually they've added support. So they added the ability to transport vehicles. So now they have a transport fee where they'll actually transport it for you. And that was based on the fact that I had launched Rivian Roamer and they saw that people were willing to do this. So that feedback cycle kind of helped actually Rivian make changes to their own system. But yeah, it's been interesting. I never expected this to blow up. It really took off. And then obviously the referral program came along, and that kind of kept me motivated to keep driving and adding features to this. So this was basically all of what Rivian Roamer was for the better part of a year and a half, and really took off. And to this day, still gets a decent amount of traffic. Now, I don't really get any referrals anymore. I don't give out my code. It's still embedded, but I get almost none now. I'm just happy that the site is useful to people. I make sure it keeps running. But yeah, people still reach out to me and tell me, you can see there's an R1T there in Salt Lake City. Maybe you want to go there and get it.
It'd be nice little road trip back home.
Yeah. I mean, my very first EV that I bought was a Model X, where I flew to Phoenix, picked it up, and drove it back to Seattle.
Heck yeah. I was this close to getting, before I found my Flash, there was a Lightning up in Tennessee I was about to go get. I was like days away from getting it. I was like, that's perfect time to break it in.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good way to get to know your vehicle. Yep. And so just trying to find a way to make it easier for people to find a Rivian and own their Rivian. That's kind of like the goal of Rivian Roamer and future Tesla, Lucid, Ford Roamer, is to help people understand and live with EVs. I mean, they're software-defined vehicles, right? It's not just a thing that sits in your driveway that you get in and drive. Now we have experiences, we have apps, we have all this thing that goes beyond that. Like, why not enhance that experience? It's such a big part of our life. So finding ways to make that experience better for people has been really rewarding.
It's fun looking at these currently we'll go back to the pre-roamed options, because you can look at new and used, and seeing some of the good offerings from Rivians, because a lot of people want a Rivian, but right now R2, right?
Yep.
First starting out $60,000, but
$43,000.
You have an R1T here, right? And this is still within the battery warranty. So
yeah, because that's a quad, has a 175,000 mile battery and drivetrain warranty.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd have almost 100,000 miles if you picked that up. That's a good deal for $43,000.
Oh yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, interesting tidbit, all Rivians ever built have the hardware to eventually support vehicle to home. So you're also buying a Powerwall.
Right.
Quite a big one.
Once Rivian enables it. Yeah, huge one.
Yeah.
Amazing. And then I'll move over into software updates, which
this has by far been the most popular feature, and one I did not anticipate. I went from I never expected Rivian Roamer to have more than maybe 1,000 people signed up, but I think I now have, like, what's the number of vehicles there? So that says 5,500, but the thing, this says eligible. If your vehicle's in service, it's not counted. Employee vehicles are excluded. So there's actually quite a few in here, but I'm over 6,000 vehicles tracked now. Never expected that, ever. And it is primarily driven by software updates. A lot of people care about when are they going to get an update. Mm-hmm. And so this kind of shows you some information about the rollout. And I would say the amount of traffic I get during a software rollout, 5x's. Just
wow,
huge spike every software rollout. And I've tried to display this in a way that I think is easy for people to understand. And I even created a software update guide, which is linked there on the main page, right above the progress bar. And this kind of guides people through how software updates work, because there's a lot of information that there's, like, when your vehicle gets flagged versus when it downloads it, issues that can happen with connection lost. And so I actually built this guide, and Wasim was graceful enough to give me some of his time. He reviewed it and gave me, like, the thumbs up, and he's like, yep, this matches everything and how it works. So if people are curious, you can kind of go through and understand how software updates work with Rivian, to how the release cycle works with Connect Plus and non-Connect Plus. When is your vehicle going to get it? A lot of people like to think that I'm always last. You're not. It sometimes seems that way. But a lot of people are just want to know, like, when am I going to get my update, and kind of walking through everything. So this has been one of the most visited pages, has been this guide right here.
Awesome.
But yeah, the software updates has been really interesting. Started tracking them, and it just blew up. It is the #1 driver of people that sign up, which, by the way, there are 2 tiers. The free tier, if you scroll down to the bottom here on this page, actually kind of goes through it, does have quite a few features. You get the full dashboard, you get the vehicle detail page, you get software update notification, software history tracking, you get the birthday email, which is a fun little thing that not a lot of people know happens. It's just a surprise. Yeah. When I saw that, I was like, oh, I gotta email people. So yeah, for the $4.99 a month, or I think it's $54.99 for a year, so you get a month free basically. You get all the telematics and the history, but there's still a lot of value there for free. And I've always said the goal of Rivian Roamer is to provide as much value as I can for free. I don't have ads, I don't have tracking, I'm not asking for anything in return. It doesn't cost me a lot to support free accounts. So if there's something I can add that keeps costs low, I'll continue adding, and I continue to add features for the free tier. You don't have to sign up and pay if you don't want to. If you do, great. But you're still contributing, you're still getting information, even if you sign up for the free tier as well.
Super awesome. I love this site.
I appreciate it. Yeah, that little graph you were just showing, the activity, has been a really useful one. So if you scroll down a little bit, and kind of walk you through that. So it kind of tells you over time whether or not your vehicle is awake or asleep. And if you're
Which part
what a lot of people do. I'm sorry.
I'm making sure which part I'm at.
So
scroll. Can see what you're talking about.
Scroll down a little bit. I don't know if I can see your screen moving or.
Oh, here we are. I'm on the different. Okay, this screen. Here we go.
Looking
at a different screen. Here.
No, yeah, it's your dashboard. And then scroll down. Oops, scroll up a little too far. Oh, there you go. So there's that. Oh, you went past it again. We'll figure it out. I promise. We'll get there. Yeah. There we go. Under today, there's activity. So that little graph. So you can see your vehicle it looks like it was preconditioning. Those little cyan color ones. And so this gives people insight into what their vehicle is doing over time, because a lot of people are trying to diagnose, like, what is happening with the energy of my vehicle? Why was it awake? I've had a bunch of people actually diagnose 12-volt issues because the vehicle was constantly waking up. And on this chart, you can see that. And you can see it historically under the daily view. So if you go through the different days, you can see everything that happened for each day.
And view details?
Yeah. Cool. So if you go back, on the different days, now you can see what was happening for each day. So you can see that's where you drove.
Rear guard.
Yep. And so you can see when your vehicle was awake, when it was asleep, where the energy's going.
I know someone out there is looking at my address. So if you guys are looking, you better send something. That's what I'll say. But you can see everything here. Yeah. The charging.
Yeah, the charging. Yeah.
Driving, gear guard. This is, wow.
The other thing I've really focused on is I've tried to, not going to name names, but I feel like a lot of these applications have been not just for Rivian, but for Tesla, like a lot of the EV telematics systems, like they tend to be like slow and laggy. And I feel like that detracts from the experience. So the way I've always built it is I think performance is a feature. And I try to make it feel like it's a native app, even though it's not. A native app is in the works. But when you click something, like you want to see it happen. And I don't know about you, but I feel like whenever I use a web application that's slow, like if I can click and go up and get a coffee and come back, like that's not a good experience. And so like I try to make it so that as you click, like things are happening instantly. So I've really focused on making the overall experience be as good as it is owning a Rivian.
Yeah, heck yeah, I love it. Very snappy.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to tell this guy.
Yeah. What were you saying, Isaiah?
Oh no, saying it's crazy. You wouldn't think this is just like one guy running this.
Yeah.
You know? The way everything's so smooth and the connection.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a passion. My partner, Kara, she's been really supportive of. I have a day job that I work. This is not my day job, by the way. It's my hobby. And believe it or not, I close my work laptop, I open my personal laptop, and the next 6 hours are working on Rivian Roamer. I'm answering customer emails, talking to people, just building features. I have a backlog that's going to last me years. It's just been so much fun to build.
All right. Well, this is so helpful. I'm really excited to see how this expands into other EVs, because I know everyone watching, again, not just a Rivian owner, they own all sorts of EVs and they want the data. And it's crazy that you get all of this information with Rivian Roamer, and seeing the progression, seeing how much time and dedication you put into this, Chad. It's thank you for spending the time to kind of walk us through everything. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Do you want to send an out message?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to sign up, like I said, the free tier is free. You don't have to pay. You don't have to do anything. But if you do want to sign up, there are two ways. You can either do the monthly, which is $4.99, or the yearly. It gives you a month free. Kyle should have I don't know whose Rivian Roamer referral code there's going to be, but there will probably be one in the description that people can use. That gets you an extra $4.99 credit after your first month paid. But to give everyone the confidence they want to try it out, if you do want to do the paid tier, you get two weeks to try it out. You do have to pay, but if you cancel within that 2 weeks, you self-cancel. I don't make you talk to me. You go in and click, I don't want this anymore. If you do it within 2 weeks, you automatically get refunded. You don't have to wait. And so I try and make it easy for everyone that if you just want to try it out for 2 weeks and you go, you know what, I don't need this, I want to drop down to the free tier, you can 100% do that. I'm not going to feel bad. I want you to use the right tool that's right for you.